Hi, this is Raj in Finland, and today we're taking a quick overview on the Zoom F3 and why it is already my favorite audio recorder. So for the Impatient ones, the Zoom F3 is a battery-powered audio recorder that has two XLR inputs. It provides phantom power. It can be powered via USB, but above all, it records 32-bit float audio. I've talked about 32-bit float audio in my videos about the Zoom F2, but in practice what it means is that the recorder is capable of encoding an unlimited range of sound, from the lowest possible, most silent sounds on earth to the loudest ones. Of course, what you're limited is by the microphone. If you clip the microphone, there's no way back, but even to clip microphones like these two, which are the T-Bone EM800 and 700, you would need to have a really loud sound. We're talking about jet engine type of thing. And also, it's not just the capability of recording all of it, but because it can, there's no gain to be adjusted. So that's to me the single most fantastic and my favorite feature of 32-bit float audio. Forget about the gain. You still need to place your microphone correctly. So just for a sample, these are now placed correctly. But just as a sample, just let me play you a guitar chord, a really loud one. Just one, otherwise the neighbors would come knocking. But what's the point of all of this? So you can forget about setting the gain. You're going to get a good quality, not clipped, not too low audio without having to do anything at all, given that you place your microphones correctly, which you have to do anyway, even if you do not have the advantage of the 32-bit float. And then you need to set the gain normally like in any other device. But back to the F3. So the F3 has a fairly similar design to the Zoom F1, which makes me wonder what went wrong with the Zoom F2, what were they thinking, but that's a topic for a different video. It does have two XLR inputs. They are not combo XLRs, so you cannot plug jacks into it, and I believe that this is a design compromise because the jacks would go much inside of the device, and then I'm guessing that they are full of electronics. So if you would have combo inputs, the device would be much bigger. But those are the inputs that you get here. You do not get any 3.5mm input either, like you get in the F1 or in the F2. So if you want to use the F3 with some lavalier mics that have 3.5mm input, then you're going to have to get with some adapters. It's going to make the whole setup a bit bigger, but maybe that was not the point of this recorder in the first place. And physically, besides the two XLR connections, on the bottom you get a line out that you can then output straight into a camera. No, that will not be 32-bit audio magically into the camera, but you can record the same audio. It does have a headphone jack, 3.5mm for monitoring, with the plus-minus buttons for the volume. On the right side we have the power button and then the start recording and hold, which I think that I would have preferred a more traditional, bigger, round record button like in the F1 or in the F2 or in the Zcam S6 instead of the rocker, but I guess I'll get used to it. It has a fairly bright red LED, so I know that it's recording, so I think it's going to be okay. The same rocker then sets the recorder in hold position, so meaning that none of the buttons will be active while that is on hold. On the left side we have three more buttons to access the menu and then for playback. And on the front screen, we have four buttons, which will help us to navigate through the menus or to set the couple of things that you can set, which is not much. Basically, that scaling factor. On the left side as well, we have our micro SD slot and then a USB-C, which is to me another great feature of this. This can be powered by USB. And because of that, it means that I don't need to care about the batteries. I can just plug it to the wall and I don't have any issues. Can't forget about the gain, can't forget about the battery. If the microphones are placed correctly, I am getting good audio. The screen, instead of the usual levels with decibels, it shows two waveforms of what's going on all of the time. And then you can adjust with these plus and minus buttons in here what is kind of the scale factor. Doesn't really matter because you can adjust the gain afterwards, either by lifting it or by lowering it without adding any noise or without losing anything at all. But basically, whatever you see in the screen while you are recording, what you'll see in your DAW or your NLE when you bring the files there. It doesn't mean that you can adjust them afterwards. So if you would have this at, now it's at X64, so if I would have it at X512, it would look really, really clipped, and I would have to lower it, no problem. If I would have it at X2, it would look almost like there's no signal, but no problem because I can just lift it and I'm not adding any noise. So it just, what is your starting point in your NLE? It can be controlled via Bluetooth, via an external adapter that you need to pay some money for it. I have no use for it, so I'm afraid I'm not going to be reviewing that functionality. One thing that I personally was missing very much from the Zoom F1 is that it does not have a tripod thread mount in here, and the Zoom F3 does, so that's really practical. Usually I have my recorders on top of the table, holding on a small tripod like the Manfrotto Pixie or so that the screen is slanted and I can see a little bit better. So that's a nice touch. Also, I'm going to be trying to mount this in the Zcam S6 rig, and if I succeed, I'm going to share that, but I'm not sure if I'm making any promises yet. My main use will be here. I have two XLRs at the moment because I am retesting the T-Bone EM700 and 800. I have it plugged on an iPad or phone adapter to the wall outlet, so I don't have to worry about the power at all. So now the situation is, I don't need to worry about power, I don't need to worry about gain. So this is the most headache-free and really, really good quality audio solution that I have ever found. And I don't think that I'm going to be using anything else here in the studio going forward. And the reason that I'm shooting with both microphones at the moment is because I made a video comparing the EM700 and the EM800 some time ago. And quite a few people have commented that the EM100, that I thought it was my favorite, was quite hissy. So I wanted to redo the video now that I have the 32-bit float audio. And let's see, was it hissy? Did I have something wrong in some of the tracks? How do they compare? That's coming in another video. But what did you think about the sound today? Alright, so that was a quickish overview on the F3 and the reasons that I love it. I'm planning to make a video comparing the F1, F2 and F3, which is really, really unfair comparison, but it's mostly to talk about the differences. And as I said, I'm going to be using now the F3 to make, or maybe even redo, a few microphone reviews that I've done in the past, and let's see if we get something new coming soon. But if you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you're using 32-bit float audio, please let me know, and we're going to see you soon for some more content.